started 42NF. That's the name of her architectural company. And she leads these project teams at all phases of design from inception to completion, ensuring design and continuity through a wide range of projects in the studio. She has completed several architectural and interior design projects of various scales, cutting across luxury homes, hospitality, and retail. These are just some of her examples of work. Her design approach is rooted in 42mm's core values of design excellence, innovation, and sustainability. She believes as development and construction professionals, and this is important, we bear a particular responsibility and have a unique opportunity in each project. Fully understanding these roles ultimately increases a project's true value regardless of the ever-changing and evolving design trends. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to let her sit down. We're going to ask her to come and debate the topic. Priyanka, the mic is all yours. You have 3 minutes. You will get a reminder bell at 3, and then you get another 30 seconds before we cut you off so that people can get to their flights. The mic's all yours.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. As an interior designer, I'm just going to target the areas which are pertaining to design, and rest of my team members will take care of the technical bit of the lighting. So lighting, I believe, is much more than just the literal illumination or the brightness of a space. So it needs to take care of, apart from fulfilling the functions of just visual lighting and task lighting, it needs to have a little more to do with the visual interest of the space. So that's where I feel the LEDs definitely have an edge over other conventional light sources, because LEDs being unidirectional, it's easier for as a designer to target the lighting towards one specific source. So also for an interior design space, the lighting has to be a little there has to be some contrast. The special elements, the few special features needs to be highlighted or to be in focus. So that's where LEDs definitely have an edge, because in an interior space, how you conceive a space and how you what you see and how you see it is also very, very essential. So whereas I feel the conventional light sources are more to do with the visual functions, also because we don't really need to direct the light, so it completely eliminates the idea of adding any deflector or reflector to target the light. So the light fixture is extremely compact, which again in terms of ceilings or the space, these are non-obtrusive, and the ceilings can be a little noise-free. Also, apart from the energy efficient aspect, the LED sizes are also extremely small, so they can be placed in different format to make light fixtures which can cater to wide applications. And also the CRI, another aspect which is the color rendering aspect, is extremely high. So again, it becomes extremely good when it comes to retail or display lighting. Then another aspect which I feel is, with the advancement of spectral engineering in these LED lights, they can be controlled very well through for their brightness and color. So it's not just adding to the visual impact, but non-visual impact also, because we're able to mimic the natural daylight or sunlight. So in spaces like which are windowless spaces or the lower floors, we can actually create lighting which mimics a skylight. Also, it in some ways it's not just beneficial or adding to the well-being of the occupants, but the real estate value of the space also goes much higher, because a windowless space also you can enjoy the light quality of a sun, the evening sun, or the moonlight. So that can also be mimicked through with the advancement of LED lights. So these were a few key elements which I feel definitely LEDs are better as compared to the fluorescent and the conventional light sources.
Brilliant.
I had to be very, very concise.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Very well done. 3 minutes, 30 seconds, loaded with content. Okay. So we are not going to let you go off stage. Please take a seat so that you can be joined in by your teammates shortly. I forgot to introduce you to two very important people in this debate. Very often this happens on TV that you get to say whatever you want and get away with it. Today, you cannot do that because we have fact-checking live and in your face by Dr. Amardeep Dugar. So anything that you say can and will be held against you. Okay? So please be careful. Okay? Dr. Amardeep Dugar needs no introduction, but I can assure you that if he tells you your facts are wrong, they are wrong. Also a very important person today is our timekeeper, Ashish Thakur, also a lighting designer based in Bombay. He is the one who's going to tell you, okay, time's up. Keep the presentation running, please. So to continue the debate with architectural reference to how LEDs can be used in the space, we have a very talented architect, Rajan Goregaokar. Rajan has some fascinating body of works as well. Priyanka is not going to let you go easily. He told me before he started. Can you go back, please? Back. Okay. One more. Yeah. So, Rajan is a partner of GA Design, and this firm has extensive experience in residential, commercial, and private villas, as well as interiors of luxury homes and offices in and around Mumbai. Associated with some of the region's most prominent builders and industrialists in the fields of architecture and design, Rajan brings together the design expertise of both architecture and interior design. With a profound attention to detail and a focus on simplistic yet elegant and artistic solutions to a complex brief from client, his technical expertise, and that's what we are going to be testing today, Rajan, and his pragmatic design approach is the reason behind the success of some of his landmark buildings in Mumbai. Forward, one more, please help me out. Keep her forward. And one more, please. And one more, please. One more. May I request Rajan to share his views? Allow him to come to the stage, Ashish, and then you can begin his time. Let me know when you're ready.
Thank you. Okay, so first of all, I want to say I'm not a technical expert in lighting. I'm an architect. So I just, since this debate is here, and it's a good time just to run through, the last 25 years. And I'll do it fast, of course, to get to the main point. But we all had fluorescent lights and incandescent lights, and after that you had halogen, of course, which was like, for architects it was something which changed the aesthetic point of view for us, because they were much more good looking as compared to fluorescent and incandescent, and they gave us the freedom to use flat ceilings, etc. But they used to heat up a lot. And then came CFL, of course, which was at that point seemed like a great light fitting, but I think like in retrospect they were quite ugly. And now finally then came LED, and everybody said LED is fantastic. I mean, it saves power, and you have these LED strips, you can do cove lighting, everything, and it's like everybody was so excited about it. And so were we. But let me give you a reality check out here. So LEDs, basically, all LEDs have this driver in it, right? And all the driver does is converts AC into DC, right? But this is the thing. Now, every time we do a site, like residential apartments or something like that, you have these fantastic cove lighting and LED strips running all around. And they just tend to fail you at the most opportune moment. Like we have an opening or something like that, you have clients all around, and everybody's so happy with what you've done, and suddenly out of a 40 feet cove light, 10 feet of it is not working at all. And the client tells me, "Kya hoga?" And I said, "It's a small problem, I'll solve it." But you know what? It's not like earlier days when there was a CFL. I'll just go down to the market and just change it in 5 minutes and get it fixed. You can't say that to the client because you got to tell the client, "I don't know what the problem is." And the next day when you call the client and the client calls you, you tell him, "I have spoken to the electrician. Electrician said that the voltage is right. Then I've spoken to the LED guy, and the LED guy says, driver pe shayad problem rahega, I will change it. Shayad." Okay? So he takes it as a given that the driver is going to be defective. Sure enough, it's changed, and after some time, the light works fine. But this is the point I'm trying to make. This driver is very unreliable, and at least for us, as architects, when we use drivers, I nowadays ask the vendor first, "Ki tumhara driver kaun sa hai?" And he give me some brand name, and I'm supposed to feel like, okay, convinced, okay, this is a big brand of a driver, my lights are going to work. But you never know what's going to happen next. Another big problem, when you're buying lights from a vendor, and then when you have automation, okay, you have to make sure that they are compatible. So here, there's another scenario, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because you get lights, and then your automation guy tells you that these are not compatible with your lighting system. Another problem. And lastly, I think I would want to say, interesting experience. I use a cove light. Okay, I tell my vendor I want a 15 light cove light because I want an indirect glow. He says use 25 watts, and I say why? He says because in 2 months it's going to turn into 15 watts all over again. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rajan. So powerful. Now what I'm going to tell you is that I'm not opening up questions right now because the team 4 will be recording their comments, and at the end of it they will be summarizing their rebuttals to whatever has been said, and after that we will open it up to the house. Okay, so hold on to your questions. I don't even have to refer to my notes, but to introduce the next speaker, architect and lighting designer Kaustabh Nandurbarkar, another dear friend who works out of Pune and has done a number of projects both as architect in Semblance and Vertices. His projects go from residential to offices and institutional complexes, and he also has brilliant sketching abilities. Today, to talk about a lighting designer's perspective on whether he loves or why he loves LEDs, please put your hands together for a warm welcome to Kaustabh.
Thanks, Linus.
Kaustabh, your time starts now.
Okay, thanks, Linus. My understanding of light started as early as 99, 2000, when probably LEDs weren't born then. We did not have LED as a source of light then. So from there, I've started understanding various types of lamps, luminaires, starting from incandescents to fluorescents to metal lights, so on and so forth. Now, coming to the point of LED, we seen throughout the day, yesterday, today, what Amardeep talked about, factors which are affecting humans in terms of wellness. Then about Iftikhar and Lyle expressing his ideation on lighting. So when we all ideate any lighting solutions, primarily we have 3 tools with us. One is the source of light, that is the lamp. Second would be the distribution agent, that is luminaires, and the third is the orientation of them in the system. Now this is the composition of all these three, we get a good lighting solution largely. What LED has done significantly is being at the micro level source and at a very micro scale. Firstly, it has changed the luminaires in a big way. It has allowed more it has allowed us to use light in a very distinguished and a very different manner than we were ever using. Secondly, by the changes in the luminaires, what has affected is we have tried to orient light in a much different ways than we could have ever used it. Today we are using LEDs in the smallest possible area, maybe in the corners, maybe in the floors. So that is an accessibility which probably we did not have, which has been made to us available because of this technology. Now, what has it done beyond that? While we have proper luminaires which are better controlling lights, which are again giving us a more freedom to execute the lights in the space, it has added one more tool to our kit, which is the controls, because this is one technology which is far more easily controllable being digital in nature. Now that is something what is phenomenal in case of an LED, because that allows you to change the space, transform the space, or control the lighting the way you want it, and that has enabled us to have more different variety of lighting solutions for spaces which need some extra or some different lighting solutions, like say for the wellness centers or something for the healthcare facilities, where the lighting solutions essentially needs to be much different, and maybe to some extent there are certain areas where we wanted to have some more dynamic lighting. This has enabled us to go a step beyond and achieve it more easily. So this is my take on LED. Well, as such, in a way, it has given us a far more leverage than we could have had it earlier. Thanks.
Before time, Amar, do we have your stamp of approval, or is there anything that any of the speakers have said so far that needs correction? Okay, perfect.
I'm just writing out all these comments right now to give you some time to really assess everything, and then we can go over speaker by speaker and see what they've said. Yeah.
The next speaker we have Thiru. Thiru again needs very little introduction, and I can guarantee you that this is going to be the entertaining part of the section. Okay, Thiru comes with a sense of humor along with his architectural degree, both as a bachelor and as a master's in urban design. His bachelor's degree from TVB School of Architecture. And Thiru has been practicing first with Gyan P. Mathur, doing architecture, and then with another leading lighting design firm, Mandala in Delhi, practicing as a lighting designer in Delhi and projects all over. Also winning awards, right? Thiru has this bag of awards that he keeps stashed away and brings them out every once in a while. His work is actually extends beyond just the architectural. He's also explored art, and if this video can just be played, please. Video ko jara. It's an interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Thiru. Speaking against LED, Thiru, your time starts now.
Thanks, Linus. Thanks, guys. Well, it's a 3-minute time. It's a short time for me to speak, but I'll try. The problem with LED that it's not the whole picture that's being sold to us. It's 1/10 of the picture. The comparison is the conventional lamp. The conventional lamp is a simple system. You put a driver or a control gear into a direct lamp and it starts on. And it's on for the lifetime that it guarantees, but not the LED. It's not electrical, it's electronics. It's much more complicated than that. The LED chip called the bridge lights Nisha, on which it's told to the architect or the client, is only 1/10 of the story. It has the heat sink, it has the junction temperature. It is far more complicated than what being told to us. So it's not the entire picture that been given to us. Now, mostly the story not told to us because they themselves don't know. People who are selling the LED are just a vendor who might not know the entire picture of why it's like this or why it might or might not work. Now the problem is that we don't know how the chip is made, the metallurgy of the chip, and whether it's blue based LED or UV based LED or indigo based LED that's creating the white light. We don't know the electroluminescence property of the LED. Any other lamp we can say get the 3K lamp or a 4K lamp, but not LED. It can be 3K, it can be 3.1K, it can be 3.2K. The problem is there is no consistency in the system, and we blame the chip blatantly. And now the possibility with LED conning an architect or a client is much more than a conventional lamp. Now, and they get conned most of the time. Now, because of those problems, we get questions, say like a KBC questionnaire, ki bhai, what's the R9 value of the LED? What's the user value of the lamp? Which they themselves don't know or they don't understand. I keep hearing one benefit that the size is the issue. Now, most of the LED based lamp with 1 inch there, half inch there, the problem becomes driver. Where do you put the driver? Rajan has his share of problem with the drivers. So me, in all projects with no lighting designers involved, we get involved at the last moment. Where to keep the drivers? We are lighting consultants, not driver consultants. With respect to driver and dimming, it's a different problem. It's not direct dimming. Kaustabh loves dimming. I hate it. It's face cut, dali, leading edge, trailing edge. Everyone throws the word that they want. They don't know the word. They don't understand the problem. The biggest issue is not wattage. It's low wattage. It's not low wattage. The LED chip is low wattage. The lamp is low wattage. Not the driver. Driver is eating some wattage, which is not being told to you. Most of the people are trying to sell you on that fake thing. They guarantee 5 years. They say it's 5 years. No one guarantees you 5 years. They say 1 year, 2 year. If the vendors are so confident, let them replace the fixture completely, not one fixture. The entire fixture, the entire circuit, to make it look consistent. Well, that's why I hate it. It's a scam. It's a technology which is being imposed on us, but which is not fully understood by people. They need to understand it first and then implement it. The real question is, are we naive to blindly trust it? But no, not Indian lighting designers. We are smarter than that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Thiru. Yeah, you were promised an entertaining session. This is going to be entertaining and learning. Okay, please make notes. Moving on. Yes, you can. Another pleasure to introduce Ashish Bahal. Please Ashish, come on stage. With a range of experience from both the manufacturing sector and now his new foray into lighting design. Ashish is also an architect and has worked with Philips for a very long time and now brings these skills into the lighting design segment. Ashish is going to declare more reasons, right, for why he loves LEDs. And although we are allowing these guys to sit together, just make sure, Mohit, that they don't enter into fisticuffs, okay? Ashish, the stage is set. Would you like this mic? Or?
No, I'm fine. Yeah, thank you. Looks like a 2020 match. It's like you have to make runs very fast.
Okay. Ashish,
Alright.
your time starts.
Yeah, thank you. I certainly enjoyed what has happened so far. So let me just, I'll put a perspective of, so basically electrical lighting has been around for a good 100 years. In terms of transformation, LED is very young, very clearly. It's something which is in very nascent years. Of course, it's been around as a technology, but I think we've started understanding and finding new usages, from the last 10 years approximately. With time, efficiencies have definitely improved. Cost efficiency has also gone better. So I think in terms of affordability is definitely much more, and then of course the life aspects of things which makes it much more, it's sort of very more welcoming in terms of a technology which you may not have to change every 2 years, for example. So maintenance definitely is a great advantage, apart from of course the energy, right? And and then when the life's better, you can definitely install such technology at remotest of places without looking at the maintenance aspect. You might not be able to otherwise light up bridges or tunnels and stuff, which are very difficult installations, which needs a lot of maintenance. So therefore, it helps to have a very relatively maintenance-free. The other thing I wanted to tell was basically it's a technology for the future. I don't think there's any. We don't know the next technology yet. I probably it's in the works, but to me. It's something we're still exploring as a technology. It's giving us reasons of usage beyond illumination as well. So why are we even looking at for illumination? It's something which is now being used for healing. It's for use, while somebody talked about the tunability aspect, we may use the same space for multiple usages, which sort of adds to the real estate costs. So you can probably have multiple usages to the same space, which somehow we never had the opportunity for example. While we're exploring the much debated human-centric lighting, I must also say that it's been also explored for horticulture. We're looking at, night horticulture. You could probably use, wavelength, and the jury is still out for that, whether it's really helping or not, but then it's something which sort of reduces the food miles. We're also looking at animal-centric lighting. You're probably helping. You might have heard it, the cows and the buffaloes giving more milk, but that's probably still in the works. We even are experimenting on whether the hens can give more eggs, for example. So anyway, there are a lot of interesting usages that are coming up. Another interesting one is, we are in a very interesting space, very difficult to find each other without the phones. You could probably use this, being a digital technology, uses an indoor positioning, for example. It's like a GPS inside a building, never possible before that. So something to look forward in the future for, actually, in terms of more and more usages coming away, which are beyond illumination again, basically. Another one is, now there's a technology called Li-Fi. You could probably transmit data. So there is enough potential which is still being explored. We don't know what we can do with it, but definitely something on which we can build more. So I think the possibility that we can start talking to the lighting, which never was a possibility earlier. Now they have a lot of the Wi-Fi's and the Bluetooths and whatnot. You could never think of such things. It being a digital platform, it's just a platform still. It's still, I shouldn't even call it a lighting only technology. LED is a technology in itself, while we are finding new ways of experiencing and using it in future. So that's all I had to say. Thank you so much.
You did pretty well for a 2020. That was a glimpse into the future of LED. Well presented, Ashish. Thank you very much. And to introduce the next speaker who has a lot of experience with LED, we have Kirish Bhardwaj. Girish comes from a background of engineering, but has done some unique and path-breaking work in discovering how else LED can be used, both good and bad. He's going to be sharing views on all his work and experiences so far, which extend from light and well-being to light and healing. The stage is all yours, Girish. Put your hands together for Kirish Bhardwaj.
Yes. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. No doubt, with the arrival of LEDs, our business have grown multifolds. Our technical understanding on LEDs have gone exponentially high with our creative skills. However, there is a dearth of reservoir and knowledge with respect to physiology and light, and that too with physiology and LEDs. And LEDs have brought physiological concerns with it. Now, how LED as Z-Gibber influences this molecular mechanism, and which part of this molecular mechanism is sensing this time cue, and why, is the question which is revealed in this relationship between physiology and light, which is too fascinating and too true to be ignored or criticized. I'll cite you some examples now. One of the examples is too much of activation of cortisol leads to the lowering of our immune system. Bullied behavior, we are experiencing it. 2014 से पहले ऐसे नहीं था. we were having vada pav, samosa, we were late partying late night. But bullied behavior? Sorry. One of the examples. Second, in the name of circadian, we are driving cortisols and hyperactivation of IPRGCs, which is responsible to trigger cortisol through the pituitary gland, are also found in the fifth cranial nerve. When they get hyperactivated, there is a term known as migraine. And I have 200 patients of migraine. Okay, in past just 3 years, probably more of female, and because of this, we are not realizing the invisible, non-visible format of LEDs are deteriorating us, and we are paying indirectly to our medical sort of insurance bills and all. Third, the most important hormone is melatonin, and we thump our chest, pat our back. What has happened? Okay, pat our back that we have suppressed hormone melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone which repairs your cell every day, regenerates your neuronal activities every day, boosts your mitochondria ATP every day, boosts your immune system every day, and you are happy saying we have suppressed it. Please align it. Don't suppress it. Okay? Fourth, the homeostasis disruption between VLP and orexins are the major concerns of our sleep. Sleep is a luxury today. Okay? Sleep is a luxury. And orexins, in their RM format, rapid eye movement, what they do, they make you in a wakeful state. Many times you would have felt in the morning, though you were not having booze in the night, no party, no chagada, still you got up with some heavy head, with some retinal fatigue. Why? Orexins were indirectly activated. The homeostasis disruption. And the last part everyone has told is circular economy. At the moment, not me, not Kirish Bhardwaj, it is the SIBC who has already declared LED as most unmaintainable source of lighting. Please go and check their website. So, light is the governor of the universe and the hormones, and we as a lighting fraternity are no less than medical one. Thank you.
Did you see the passion? There's passion hidden somewhere there was passion. So, what we're going to do now is, before we go into the summary, where one representative for and one representative against is going to go into rebuttal, I'm going to request Amardeep to come and share his comments on what has just been said.
Oh my god. Okay, I'll just say half of it. So one comment on each presenter here. So Priyanka, you mentioned about CRI, the directional lights, the size of the light source. Yes, all of that information what you've shared is correct, no doubt about that. But in terms of the only thing that I would say that CRI is again debatable about color, about LEDs. It's not all LEDs have a great CRI, so one has to be pretty careful about what is being said here. Even energy efficiency is a bit debatable with LEDs these days. Okay, it's a marketing term, people want to sell LEDs, so we've been fed with this information that is all energy efficient, but we need to look in underneath the driver, underneath the thing where all the energy losses are. So it has to be more correct. So again, just have to be careful. Now, Rajan had said about drivers having a problem, small section doesn't work, unreliability, unpredictability, all of that is correct, no doubt about this. But again, one has to be careful over here is that what kind of LEDs, what kind of R&D has gone into behind that technology. So I wouldn't say they're all bad, but it's just that you need to buy it from the most reliable sources and how it is installed. It's a very arcane technology, it's too much of secrecy here. So in that the process has to be clear, and then only things can be right. You still cannot find out what it is. It's correct, but need to be careful there. Anything else to say?
So we have to basically depend upon the vendor. Otherwise, I have to get some lighting consultant on board. I'm forced to do that.
Yes.
Why should I be forced to do that? I mean, forget me, but my client might not be interested in getting a lighting consultant. So why is this technology such?
See,
Or a driver consider drivers drive you up the wall, basically.
But the industry has driven this technology in such a way that they made it dependable on everyone to be a part of this. So that's how they're selling it. And they deliberately made all the other light sources obsolete. So that's how it is, unfortunately. That's the story.
Yeah.
So
That's why I hate
Kaustabh,
it.
Again, you talked about form factor controls. Better controllability is again a very debatable thing, because the fact that it is digital itself makes it a very unreliable kind of a technology, because people are not able to identify where the problem is.
Well, not exactly. See, we cannot just debate about the system being not reliable just because we don't understand it. It's better better make ourselves more understand. We understand things better, we educate ourselves and then use it. There is a judicious way of using technology. That does not mean, and if you don't use that judiciously, and if it fails, does not mean the technology is not. It might not be user friendly at this moment because you have not understood it. That's the point. But we need to educate ourselves before using it.
Okay, hang on. The way this is going to work is you will have your chance for rebuttal, right?
Yeah.
So unless you need a clarification on what he said, okay? We're not asking you to rebut right now.
Rebuttal will
If you
happen.
need a clarification, then you can ask him.
Because I only have 3 minutes, which is already used up, I think. So, Thiru, you mentioned about not known about electricity, driver consultant, lighting designers, the fact that they're specifying drivers along with lighting consultants, so they also have to become driver consultants. So it is part of the whole scope of work. That's how we have to be living with. But yes, a lot of the other things that I have mentioned about no guarantee, I don't think it's problem with the LED technology itself. It's the way it is being marketed, it's being used and abused. That's where the problem lies. So understand.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yes. So we need to get the correct facts about LEDs, which are hidden from us. So let's not blame the technology, the way it is being sold. That's what we need to be talking about. And Ashish talked about maintenance, energy. Again, those are very things which are not like Mr. Passion had said about maintenance. It's the most unmaintainable technology. It is. There are facts and now evidence that have said that it is difficult to maintain. It's not the way it is being marketed. So one has to be very careful there. And what Mr. Girish had said, if I'm to put it in a very simplified language here, it is the light source that is produced out of LEDs, the photons that are emitted, and from that very source, there are people who get affected by this light, and they are light sensitive people. They have migraines, they have skin allergies, people have even reported of epilepsy in fits. And all of this has increased from an incandescent source to an LED source because of this whole concept of semiconductor technology. So all of this, what he said, I'm just trying to put it in a very simplified, understandable manner, that all these claims are true, and it's just that a lot of it has been hidden under the carpet, brushed under the carpet, is not coming out into the open because it will completely disrupt this whole magic and this drama world that is created about LED, which is not true. So one has to be careful about this technology before using it and trying to understand it and the way it is being marketed. So that's it from me.
Thank you very much, Amar. What we're now going to do is allow one member in Team 4. You get 2 minutes in which to present all your rebuttal. So from Team 4, who's going to be representing Team 4? Kaustabh, up here. This is the execution stand.
Okay, you need to go there.
Yeah. Your time starts now. Go.
Well, I think Rajan and Thiru made some points regarding the drivers. Now, well, we need to understand the difference. The source of light is the lamp, or the source of light being LED as a lamp, needs certain kind of controller or say driver in that is their terms. Now, well, a failure of a driver cannot be attributed to the failure of a lamp, and that cannot be merely a reason to hate a technology. And it's again, yes, there is a limited understanding or poor execution of a system that has led to the failure. So we rather focus on improving the executions, we focus more on getting better technologies or better drivers and have it installed. So that's the way forward, instead of looking it backward or suggesting them not to be taking it further as a source or solution for the lighting. Coming to the point what Girish mentioned about the melatonin. Well, yes, we have heard a lot about circadian systems, we have heard about a lot of hormonal systems. I don't understand why we are hearing this only for last 3-5 years. Why did it not have occurred to us before? There were other light sources as well which damaged equally. There were problems with other lamp sources as well. So that's not the one, if at all there is something, it is not only the LED. And about the melatonin and exposure to the light, well guys, we always have an option to shut it off. Why not? Well, instead of taking this matter further and making this as a point to hate a system, I don't think so it would be appropriate to do so. That's my point.
Thank you, Kaustabh. And now, in terms of summary for team against LED, who's going to be representing? Okay, excellent, Girish. Your
Hi.
time starts now.
Alright. We all want to sell something swathed up with the maculages with the factor of wow, I liked it. My limbic part of the brain, I've liked it. It's so beautiful. Agreed. It's so maintainable. Agreed. Or it's so space management has been addressed. Flexibility has been addressed. As you mentioned about the melatonin factor, since the ages, since we are born, it is still there. We are 7 trillion atoms of one human being and 89 billion neurons. However, the source of the arrival of LEDs has changed the DNA of the industry. The light was a form of heat factor before LEDs. After LEDs, the DNA changed, but our prosaic ways to continue with the insipid manner couldn't change that. So we need to understand the technology is very good. We have to live with it, and industry is definitely working upon it. At the moment, while I'm speaking, we are unable to maintain our homeostasis of our physiology. For that, we have to be careful. We have to be little conscious, because it is about health and well-being. We have been finagled by the purchase managers or so-called elephant in the room. But definitely that's an indirect or a direct form of your medical bills, neuro disorders, Alzheimer's, where it is coming from. Why now? So definitely lifestyle matters, we don't have time, but somewhere iota of it, LED is also contributing. It's not 100% as mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We now go and open the house. If you have a question that is equally passionate, please raise your hand. No, even if you have a question or a clarification, either from the team on board or from our fact checker, please raise your hand. Yeah.
It was an interesting facts. I appreciate that. Only thing is what I want to add is that it is not a small chapter light which was previously taken. Now light is become a very important thing for interior as well as the exterior spaces. So now everybody is getting serious on the lighting, and that's what we are understanding more and more, and that's why we need an expert. That understanding the subject more detailed, because architect have many more subjects to understand and go detailed. So lighting is one of them. It is very important, and thank you.
Now, I'm equally passionate but not so vocal. But I will just say one thing here is that the traditional light sources, be it your incandescent, they were all what you call it the point source, and that's how they were measured as point sources. The trouble with LED is that it is being measured and seen as a point source, which it is not. Light was measured in lux and lumens when it was the incandescent light source, or even your fluorescent, but to a certain degree. LEDs have to be measured in nits, and that is where the problem lies. And all our standards are still following the lux and the lumens, wherein we need to start thinking about nits. So the standards itself has to change. And once that changes, then we can understand the whole problem of LEDs, and then we'll be able to use them better in a proper manner. Even that putting it into that crevice, all that is good, but imagine it's not lumens that is coming out, it's nits coming out. It's that real raw photon that is coming out, which can be a problem for your human health, for your eyes, and that's what has to be taken into consideration. So that's where the problem lies.
That's what we are saying. We don't know the whole story. We don't know the whole story. That's what. Tell us the story.
So very important point, because it is standards at the end of the day which govern everything from architecture and interior spaces, from materials, from the way we construct, from structures, right? How come with a light source that is has certain claims in the industry, we need to look at this very closely to be able to understand exactly what we are dealing with, right? We can only begin to understand what we are doing once we understand how it works. Right? Important point, Amardeep. Thank you. One more question.
Hi, good evening everybody. I was just listening to all that talk that was happening. As a novice, I'm not a lighting guy, but I deal with lighting and lighting products and fixtures and fittings. What is the whole discussion today on circadian lighting that is coming into the discussion? And for a country that is bountiful with sunlight, do you think it is a product that should be coming into this country? Or is it again imposition of a product that suits a different country that's coming into our country? Are we going to succumb to that, or are we going to resist it? Since this is a debate, so I want both the options.
Sir, you should have attended the morning session by Dr. Saab in that session.
So very interesting question, and I hope that iDAC takes that feedback and allows the other sessions to also be made available to all the participants. There was a lot of discussion about light and its effect on well-being and health. But would you like to summarize a response? Okay.
Good evening, sir. So, I would, you have appropriately raised a very valid question. First of all, circadian, in the name of circadian, we are not doing anything, but it's a placebo at the moment. One, only with tunable light. You mentioned about rich sun. Are you sitting under rich sun? One, not here. Forget this. Go to your 3 BHK, 4 BHK, 5 BHK house. The visible parameter of the sun is there. Non-visible parameter, which are important, which is NIR and FIR, are totally missing because of your glass facades, porch, or whatever it is. So your ATP, immune system, mitochondria, has gone for a toss. One. So whether we are rich or a poor sun country, one fact remains that lighting has to be addressed first before you conceptualize the architecture. How will you allow sunlight? Okay, the challenge is, I wrote in one of the platforms, if the swimming is not coming to you, if the ship is not coming to you, swim out to it. So can we swim out to sun? There are possibilities, right? What? Allow your employees half an hour to smoke and have coffee in sunlight. How hard it is. So there are factors where your lighting expert would come and tell you which glass to choose. I was at one of the booth at the glass. It is the lighting designer's job to direct an interior designer and an architect which glass is to be used. UV, it's like U value of 4.6 or U value of 4.3. It is mentioned in IES edition book to 10 that it is a, so we have to be given the importance before anyone else.
What I would like to do is also bring in an architect here. Either one of you. If we look at this question that is being raised from an architectural point of view, and what Girish has said to integrate the lighting designer in that discussion, right? One is a question of what is the available light. The second is a question of what happens when that available light is not available, for example, in the nighttime situation. So if you could kind of discuss what your approach would be.
So basically, if you're talking about lighting during the later part of the day when there is no sunlight, right? So I think because of the technology, like for instance, the opposite team was saying that you can dim the lights and all that kind of technology has happened. Before dimming, we also had lighting where we would use it in such a way that we would design the house so that you would not need dimming. There were certain lights which were designed in a certain place which would be required or give you indirect lighting. Certain lights would give you fill your room with light. So why do you actually need why do you need this technology? Because this technology, I agree, this technology is it's like going and improving in leaps and bounds. But is it necessary for residential application? I'm not very sure. Maybe for commercial application, maybe for lighting the building, things like that, it's fine. But because this technology has come everywhere, everybody wants to use it in their homes, where I don't think it is necessary everywhere.
Thank you,
it's
Rajan.
become a fashion today. Everybody talks about dimming in the bedroom and you can have 10 different mood lights. We do a house, okay? And after that house is done, I don't think many people use those 10 different moods. It is only in the first day when the guy comes to stay at home, they're all very happy that I got, this kind of automation technology. But afterwards it's not used. So I think where the technology is used is also important.
Thank you, Rajan. Great points. And I think right now we're going to have to use this technology to communicate with some of the aircrafts about to take off. So I hope the audience has taken away a lot of things from this debate. I really want to thank you all for a lot of research, a lot of good content.